Cinema Podcast, a show dedicated to discussing movies from the cinematic failures to the lesser known classics hiding on Tubi to the Kung Fu movies for newbies. Hey, that kind of rhymed. I am your host, Steven, and joining me today is Loren Schroeder. Hello, Loren. How are you?
Hello, how's it going?
Going pretty good. You may know Loren from the hit YouTube game show Graveyard Games.
That's right. I was a contestant on the inaugural season of Graveyard Games in October of 2025. So keep an eye out for season two later this year.
I honestly enjoyed the game. I thought I had a cool concept of just like anytime someone answers a question, they basically pick another contestant to essentially screw over until um I, I like the concept that you guys are basically trying to kill each other.
For sure. And I mean, on the show we're all very competitive, but we're all pretty close behind the scenes.
Did you know any?
No, actually, no, we know none of us knew each other, and a little behind the scenes story here. When we first started, like we all had to go through this application process. They interviewed us individually, but like the day we showed up, like they said, okay, talk with each other and but don't talk too much about the game or anything. Like, don't tell too much about yourselves. And I'm like. Okay. They don't want us to know, our like strengths and weaknesses and stuff. And I'm like, okay, all right. But no, it was cool. We all got to like know each other and yeah, it was a fun experience. And I am sad that I can't compete as a contestant on season two, but I will be sitting in the audience as an observer this time. Or I guess, whenever they release it. So, I don't have any more information on how that's going. I will keep an eye out for it just as the audiences are.
All right. I know I'm excited for it. Like I said, I enjoyed the first season. I do need to finish it though, so I don't even know if you win or not.
You'll just have to watch.
And we're here to talk about I don't know if it necessarily I would say it's famous because there's definitely more movies from this time featuring this actor and this director that are definitely bigger, but to me, I'm gonna call it a classic. And if it's not a classic, you can yell at me in the comments. But we are talking about Heroes of the East, the 1978 kung fu film by the Shaw brothers. Now, the reason that I asked you here is not because you were an expert in Kung Fu cinema. It is simply because I hung out with you once and I was like, this is a cool guy. He should be on my show.
Well, I enjoyed hanging out with you as well. So I'm happy to be a part of this show here, and I enjoyed the movie that you recommended.
That's good. I would have been sad if I made you watch a movie you didn't like.
That was terrible. No, no, it was a good time. I enjoyed it. I am not the biggest expert on the kung fu martial arts genre, but I do enjoy a good martial arts film when I see one. Um, this was a good one. My initial reaction when the it showed the cast list of people in the film, Gordon Liu, who I was like, why do I know that name? Well, it's because I watched Kill Bill in theaters the whole 4.5 hours or how the whole bloody affair, that was released in theaters a couple months ago. I was like, oh right, he of course Tarantino's a fan of him.
Yeah.
So it was a pleasant surprise, like seeing. Well, he's much older in Kill Bill as he was in this movie. But I was like, oh, okay. So we're like kind of passing the torch from the kung fu genre, current kung fu martial arts genre to another generation with that film.
And then he also plays two characters in that movie,
That's right.
which I did want to talk about Gordon Liu and some of the one of the other cast members. I'm only familiar with one other actor in this movie.
Okay.
But yeah, Gordon Liu, who plays the character of Ho Tao. I am gonna butcher names. I apologize. I really should have spent like hours making sure I knew to pronounce all their names. But I believe it's Ho Dao, and like you said, in technically both volumes of Kill Bill, which technically is one movie. It's complicated. Quentin
Yeah.
Tarantino's weird. For those that don't know, he played Johnny Ma, who is like one of the top levels of the Crazy 88s. He's the one that fights the bride like on like the ledge of the bar there the bar.
Yes, yeah. She's on the second level and
Yeah.
right, yeah.
And then he also plays Pai Mei, who is the one that
I may.
trains the bride in volume 2.
Yes.
And it's kind of funny because Pai Mei is he's based off a real person, but Pai Mei is kind of like a stock character that's just in a bunch of like Hong Kong movies. There's like three of them, like Clans of the White Lotus and Shaolin Executors,
Right,
the two
yeah.
big ones. And so Gordon Liu has not just in Kill Bill. Gordon Liu has played Pai Mei in other movies, and then he's also fought Pai Mei in other movies, which is probably why Quinn cast him because he probably saw a bunch of those movies and he's
Yeah.
like, let's bring him back for that. But Gordon Liu is like one of the most famous action stars of Hong Kong cinema, especially the 70s. Um, he did a bunch of Shaw Brothers movies. His big ones are like 36 Chamber of Shaolin, 8 Diagram Pole Fighter. One of my favorites, not just because of the name, Dirty Ho.
Hey, that's a line from Cat in the Hat.
Gordon is normally famous for playing like monk characters, which is why like this was kind of cool to me. Where he's not only is he not a monk, but he has a full head of hair,
Yeah.
and I'm very convinced that it's a wig.
Yeah, that's, okay, speaking of Kill Bill, I gotta interject something here with, 'cause did you watch the whole bloody affair, right?
I did
Uh,
not. I missed
you
it.
did not? Okay, okay. But you are familiar with Kill Bill, like,
Yeah, no, I'm definitely
obviously,
familiar with
yes,
Kill Bill.
yes. So I've watched both the movies back to back, like, many times, in fact, one of them, part 2, I saw at the New Beverly a few years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I watched part 1 on DVD right before then, and then I drove out to LA at the New Beverly is Quentin Tarantino's theater, for those of you who don't know. So I saw that but this was a few years ago, and I've always wanted to watch it as one movie. And you would think, oh, you just take part 1 or sorry, volume 1 and volume 2 and stitch them together, take out the, to be continued, you know, credits, I guess. But no, it actually is kind of a different movie, a little bit, slightly different than, just simply stitching it together as, the 2 parts. One of the biggest differences, and I actually think this works way better as when you do watch it as one movie, the part 1, volume 1 ends with, Bill saying, I'm gonna butcher this, but it's something along the lines of, "Does she know her daughter is still alive?"
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah, so, like, at the end of part 1 that this is a major cliffhanger, the daughter is still alive, time to watch part 2. They actually take that line out in the whole bloody affair.
Oh wow.
So, I actually think that's a better change, that one bit of dialogue taking it out, because then when you get to the very end of the movie, when she does meet up with Bill to kill him, she has that moment where she sees her daughter for the first time and, has, like, the toy gun and says, "Bang, mommy, you're dead." And he's like, "Wait, my daughter's alive?" Like, if you don't know that, that's a much bigger twist later on in the film, a much bigger reaction than, having it as a cliffhanger in the first half of the movie. So, anyway, I
That's
just figured since
interesting.
I watched the movie, Kill Bill recently, and we are talking about Gordon Liu, I figured I would, share my input on that, but, that is all I will say about Kill Bill for now.
That's pretty interesting. I haven't seen it, and so I don't know if it's gonna come to. I almost said the video. I don't know if it's gonna come to like Blu-ray or something. I don't know if I
Yeah.
have a chance to see it, but at least I can go online and see the Minecraft short.
That's true. I was,
Right.
like, sitting through through the theater, I'm like, "Man, I've, like, held my bladder for, 4 hours," and then I'm like, "Wait, there's, like, one more, post-credit thing going on that's, like, brand new, that's why they're, releasing it in theaters and everything," and I'm like, "Oh, it's a Minecraft," or not Minecraft,
It's
Fortnite.
Fortnite. I don't know
Fortnite.
why I said Minecraft.
Yeah, no, it's
I
fine.
knew it was for
Hey,
I
I
play
I
Fortnite, so I should
I
know
got it
that.
wrong too,
It would have been funny if it was in Minecraft, like, it was but
Honestly, I
so,
don't know,
okay, so that's at the end credits then, that's they don't, like, try to
yeah,
shove
it's,
it.
like, way at the end. It's, like, after the film is finished, and after the
Oh,
credits have played, and it's supposed to be like, the missing chapter of,
yeah.
I forget her name. It's like yeah, it's essentially a missing part of the story that they animated, and I guess it's directed by Tarantino. I might be wrong on that, but, he at least, like, had creative input, so, we'll, I don't know. I'll have to look that up again.
Another actor in this that I'm familiar with is Yusaki Kurata, who plays the main villain Takino. He's a Japanese actor and martial artist who is famous for being in both Japanese and Hong Kong movies. In Hong Kong, he was played a villain a lot, generally fighting the Chinese hero.
Mm,
Um, some of the movies that I've seen him in, he was in Eastern Condors, which is basically like a Rambo 2 type of movie with Sammo
hmm,
Hung. It's like Rambo 2 and The Dirty Dozen mixed together. And then it
interesting.
becomes the James Bond movie at the end because they're just in this huge fucking set. But he plays like one of the main heavies in it that fights Sammo Hung. He's probably most famous for being in Fist of Legend, which is, in my opinion, the best Jet Li movie.
Mm,
It's a remake of a Bruce Lee movie with Jet playing Bruce Lee's part, and the fighting in that is amazing. And he has an amazing fight scene with Jet Li partway through the movie, where he also plays kind of like a not really antagonist, but he's more friendly in that movie.
I see.
And then this movie is directed by Kar Leung, who is known for not only directing the previous movies that I mentioned that Gordon Liu starred in, but stuff like My Young Auntie, which is like a famous like Shaw Brothers action comedy, and this one might be one that you actually know, Drunken Master 2, also known as Legend of Drunken Master,
I am familiar with the Drunken Master movies.
which is probably what is generally considered one of Jackie Chan's best movies. I mean,
Yeah.
I love it personally. Um, he's also in that movie too. It's a pretty substantial role too. He is an actor, but he's more of a director and choreographer,
Okay.
and he's like considered like one of like the top guys. So yeah, I also wanted to talk a little bit about the Shaw Brothers studios. I'm not the most knowledgeable about them, but very basic information about them. So to bring the audience up to speed, if you're not familiar, the Shaw Brothers studio was Hong Kong's biggest studio for like several decades. They essentially popularized the kung fu genre in like the late 60s, early 70s. And they dominated the 70s and 80s martial arts markets.
It's like a giant
Although,
box that I always see at, Barnes& and Noble anytime there's a Criterion sale.
oh yeah, the
Yeah,
Shaw Studio,
like, all the Shot Studios, yeah, I'm like,
yeah, those are cool sets. They're
yeah,
expensive, but like I've looked into some of the movies in them, and I've always wanted to get one.
yeah.
I kind of want to get the one that has Super Inframan in there.
Yes.
I think it's the fourth one that came out. Do you know Inframan?
Uh, not too much. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, no, I wouldn't call yeah, I don't think I've seen it.
One of my favorites. Oh my god, James Rolfe, his Halloween thing,
Oh,
Monster
Monster
Madness.
Madness? Yeah.
One of my favorite Monster Madness videos is James reviewing Inframan, and it's just like everything explodes, boom,
Okay, now I know what you're talking about. Yes,
boom.
I do remember that episode of Monster Madness. That was awesome. Boom.
I've never seen it, and the idea of owning it on Blu-ray really intrigues me.
I know.
Unfortunately, in the 90s, the Shaw brothers kind of switched to doing like TV projects, and then 2011 they closed down. They did eventually come back, but it's more of like an in-name only type of thing, kind of like how Hammer Films is right now, where it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, where it's
It's
like
like
Hammer
it's
Film.
the
Yeah,
actually, speaking of Hammer, there was a movie in theaters, like, 2019? Or maybe it was 2020. It was, like, right before COVID, The Lodge. That was the last thing I saw that Hammer ever put out. I saw it in theaters, but, like, nobody talks about that one.
yeah. I feel like Hammer is just the that's just the name
Yeah,
that
it's just not
another
there.
production company has, and they're just like, yeah, Hammer.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't have seen it if it didn't have the Hammer, logo on it. But, yeah, it was a decent movie, I just never hear anybody talk about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, back to the Shaw Studios.
It was actually it was a good timing. It was actually done.
Oh, you're done, okay. Then no worries, no worries. Yeah,
Yeah.
the I don't know if it's Shaw Studios or, but I am familiar with, I guess it's kind of on topic. There was the Wu-Tang Clan had, they were big martial arts fans,
Yeah.
and, they had a, VHS series in the 90s, which was called the Wu-Tang Collection,
Yeah.
and it was just like a bunch of like all these, martial arts films. Honestly, this film might even be in that collection. But
That would not surprise me.
yeah, yeah. 'Cause I'm like when you sent this to me as like the film you're gonna review that you were inviting me on your show to review, I'm like, why does this movie sound so familiar? Like I feel like I've seen it somewhere, and I'm like, maybe it was in that Wu-Tang collection.
It probably had a
But
different title too,
probably had a
because
different title too, yeah. 'Cause even like the drunken master, I guess, subgenre, there is a drunken master in this movie too. So
yeah.
there is that, which we will get into.
Hong Kong, martial arts movies, they always have funny renames because they'll be like, "Oh, this is officially called The Man from Shanghai Who Uses His Metal Fist to Stop Evil." And then
Yeah.
like, "What's the American name?" And it's like, "Iron Fist Shanghai Man." And it's like, "Oh, okay." Like I just looked it up. The other titles for Heroes of the East are Shaolin Challenges Ninja, very direct,
Mhm.
um, and Challenge of the Ninja, which is kind of a
Talent.
lie, but kind of not.
Yeah.
All right, can you please read us the synopsis?
Of course. Let's pull this up here. All right. Here is the plot synopsis on Heroes of the East, 1978. When a series of martial misunderstandings spirals into an international incident, a Chinese martial arts student struggling to relate to his new Japanese wife is forced to take on seven of Japan's most powerful martial arts masters, each an expert in a different discipline, ranging from karate to samurai to ninjutsu. And that is actually a pretty good description of the plot. 'Cause there is a lot of just scenes that go on forever of, martial arts fighting.
Yeah. One of the main reasons why I picked this was because I really feel like this is like a good like beginner's kung fu movie because it has a very straightforward plot. Um, it doesn't have like kind of the issues that some Hong Kong movies have. Where it's like there's too much random comedy and it's like it's supposed to be a serious movie. And it's fairly straightforward and there's a lot of fight scenes in it.
Definitely. I was looking up, it's 1978, I was looking up, what month. I think it was December of 1978. And I was thinking like what movies this was competing for at the box office, competing with at the box office. That is, if it was released in America. I am not sure if it was released in America in 1978. But this is basically the same time that Superman, the first Christopher Reeve one, came out. Halloween, I think, already was like, actually, no, wait. Yeah, 1978. That would be, yes. Superman, Halloween. Am I missing anything else? I will look it up. But yes.
Yeah, the movies from the
Yes.
78. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know when this had a American release, or if it was just like released across these at the same time as it debuted in Hong Kong.
Yeah, generally of movies like this, they come like I don't know how soon they come into
Mhm.
theaters, but like it's generally gonna be like, Chinese like areas of like major
Yeah,
cities that these would come in. Um I know that a lot of like African American neighborhoods too would get Hong Kong movies.
mm, okay.
Generally like in grindhouse like type of theaters, they would have like, just double bills of like random like Hong Kong movies. So like I don't know if this was ever like a big movie in America. I know that the late 70s or mid 70s to like, early 80s there was the kung fu craze because of Bruce Lee. So these movies were like in somewhat demand.
Definitely.
But just imagining just you watch like a movie from the 70s and like 70s movies, I love 70s movies, but like sometimes they don't have the best action.
Yeah. There's sometimes they're slow burn, and they'll have like a big shootout or a fight scene or something like kind of towards the end. A lot of those like crime movies from the 70s.
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
or something like Rolling Thunder where it's like it's all build up to like the action scene in the last like 20 minutes of the movie.
definitely. Yeah.
This one, we have fighting almost from the beginning of the movie.
True.
We're introduced to Hodao, and who I don't I don't think he has a job. I don't think they ever say what he does other
I
than
don't
train
think
in
so.
martial arts. He kind of just comes off as like he just has a rich dad, and his dad just basically just funds his kung fu training.
Maybe that's his job. He's so rich that, or his family's so rich that he doesn't need to work.
But yeah, he has an arranged marriage with a daughter of one of his dad's business associates. Um, Apparently, they are childhood friends, and he's just like, especially with his friend, um, they're just kind of making fun of like how like ugly she was as a kid. But oh no, it turns out that she's beautiful now.
Yep, and that's all it takes, I guess.
Yeah. Sometimes with like these movies, like sometimes with these movies, like the comedies kind of hit for miss with them with me. But
Yeah.
I did think this movie actually did a good job at the comedy
Yeah, it
parts of
it
it.
was pretty funny. It was, I don't know, you can, I don't know, like, what subgenre of comedy I would, fit this into, or what type of humor I guess it is. Just something, I don't know. I guess you could call it a romantic comedy, a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna mention this. One of the movies that this actually reminded me of, just maybe some of the themes or just certain scenes of it kind of reminded me of, was Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Oh, I could
Just
see
because
that.
it's like a couple, that they're both like trained assassins, and they end up falling in love, and they have scenes where they fight each other. I'm like, this is giving me major Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibes. uh, even though it's a very different movie from this one, but similar themes, I guess.
His wife is her name is Yomiki Koda, but they call her Kung Z the whole movie, which I don't know if that's like a Mandarin translation of her name or something. Sorry, apologies, language barrier. Um, but they get married, and he finds out that she is also a martial artist. Of course, her being Japanese, she is into martial arts, and I just love the movie. Like, really gets to show you how distinct the country's styles of martial arts are. So her like karate and judo are like way more like aggressive and unladylike,
Yeah.
and Ho's Chinese styles are more like artistic, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is basically the main conflict of this movie, is the fact that they're both serious martial artists and they have two different conflicting styles. Causes a bunch of problems for each other. This is probably one of the only movies where you can kind of enjoy a husband and wife fighting each other like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's these are the worlds that they grew up in, and this is uh it's I feel like it's like kind of a it's it really the movie is really like a commentary on clashes of cultures and, obviously two people getting married with different beliefs and uh customs that they've both grown up in. So it just happens that their customs are fighting styles. That's a big part of this movie.
Yeah. Um, I do like there's just the constant clash between them. Like, they various points they show off their different weapons from their countries and like how to use them. A lot of foreshadowing actually. Um, and one of my favorite parts of the movie is when like he tells her like, "Hey, you're just," because at one point she's like just destroying his garden
Mhm.
because she doesn't have any of her training stuff. So he tells her like, "Listen, lady, you need to get your training stuff because you can't keep destroying you can't keep destroying my stuff that my dad bought." And so she eventually gets like all of her weapons and training stuff, and then just the dojo that the Ho's dojo. Oh God, that sounds so weird. But, I don't even know if dojo would be the right term because technically it's a Chinese thing, but whatever. Whatever. Ho's training grounds. She basically just kicks out all of his weapons to put her weapons there, and it leads to an argument and then a fight scene between the two.
Yes. And there's like this scene where like she's fighting with her robe, and it like keeps coming like undone or something. I mean, you don't see like nudity or anything in this movie,
Yeah,
but it's every time it like he like sees her like with her robe coming undone, like he's like turned on, but he's also like, oh, you gotta like cover something up, and she's all like, what? No, this is it's
she's being
another one of those clash of cultures that is present in this film.
she's being very unladylike.
Yes, she's being very unladylike.
There's this part where his perverted friend tries to like snatch a peek and he just fucking pushes him to the side. So yeah, a lot of the first half of this movie is just them clashing and kind of trying to one up each other. There's a part where they're eating and they keep trying to like one up each other while they're like just trying to enjoy their meal. Um, and then like his Ho's friends are like giving him shit because like you need to like, because it's the 30s, so they're just like, you really need to get a handle on your woman. And it's just like, what, how could you, like his friend is like telling like all of their other friends like all like the stuff she's doing, and he's like getting pissed at that. um a thing about this too is, since like I just said, it's somewhere in the 30s, they don't tell you this is technically during the um this is sometime after the first Sino War, the Sino-Japanese War, and a little bit before the second Sino-Japanese War. Um, Basically, for a quick, because neither of us are experts on this.
No.
time.
I do
Basic
have a background in history, but I am not, I would say, an expert on that era of Japanese history. History is a very broad topic. I'm very much an American history expert, but yeah, I was trying to do a little bit of research on this. I just didn't have enough time. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
But,
If we do a movie in 1776, I know who to call.
perfect.
Hong Kong really liked to make movies like would basically have them be like these like almost like super villainly racists, calling them dogs and stuff like that. They really like to portray Japanese as like these like horrible villains.
Well, I mean, like, United States kinda did that too in the
Yeah,
1940s. Yes.
and this movie is kind of cool because it's one of the few that have like Chinese versus Japanese characters, and they're not really the Japanese side isn't really portrayed as villains. Like when Ho and Kong Zi have their like moments of fighting each other, the movie doesn't try to make either of them seem like they're right, or it's like, well, obviously like she's has this Japanese style, so like she's like dumb. When the characters kind of like treat her like badly because of it, it's obviously meant to be like either comedy or the characters are just kind of being like idiots.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that aspect of this movie of how like it doesn't try to villainize the Japanese, which we'll definitely get in more of it when we get to the second part of this. This movie's kind of divided in two halves.
Yes. There's the exposition half, and then there's the fighting half.
Which don't worry, there's a lot of fighting in the exposition half too. I'm telling you, if you just want to watch fighting, this is a good movie for
Oh, yeah,
that.
no, I would say there's the exposition half and the fighting half, and then within the exposition half, there is the exposition half and the fighting half.
That's a good way to put it, actually. Eventually, though, the arguments kind of just get too much, and Kung Zi can't really take it. Which I mean, to be fair, she's here by herself, and she just has people constantly making fun of her and stuff. The thing that kind of leads to her leaving too was they kind of before she leaves too, like they have this like really like long fight scene. It's in the scene when she's like basically telling them to get the weapons out of here so she can have her weapons there, and they go through like a spear fight, and like you find out she's also a ninja too.
That's right.
To further hammer in the point of this movie, one of the people at the training grounds, like Ko, is just like, do it for weapons, whatever you want. And one of the characters is just like, oh, Chinese on one side, Japanese on the other. And it's like, do you get it, audience? Do you get what this movie's trying to say? But yeah, eventually Kung Zi has enough, and she goes back to Japan. In Japan, she meets her former sensei and childhood friend, Takeno. Takeno. I'm gonna say Takeno. Takino? What do you think sounds better, Takino or Takeno?
Let's see. Let me get the spelling up here just a second. Oh, hang on. Ake Akeno? Yeah, I think that's
Okay,
probably good.
we'll go Takeno, and then if people get mad at us, I'll apologize. I'll tell them that you told me that was the correct pronunciation.
I'll
They'll
take
yell
a
at
call
you.
on this one.
Um,
He says, he is a Japanese ninjutsu expert.
and he's kind of a little too close. I don't know if you've picked up on that.
Oh, yes. A little bit.
Yeah, they don't like obviously you can kind of figure it out from like just how he acts, but like they don't really just straight up and say it's like, oh yeah, this guy's clearly in love with this woman and dates the fact
Yeah,
that she's married to a Chinese man.
yeah.
But yeah, she cozies up to him. But eventually Ho misses her, probably because she's hot, and she's just like, yeah, I would rather have her in my life than not. So his friend has the wonderful idea of writing her a letter, basically challenging her and telling her like, yeah, Chinese martial arts is better. Your Japanese martial arts sucks. Why don't you just come by and prove me wrong? is just a simple ploy to get her back. Unfortunately, Takeno is just like, "Hey, I'm gonna open up your mail for you," and he's like, "What the fuck? He's challenging all of us? Oh, oh, this bastard, this fucking prick." That's what the subtitle said.
It's exactly what they said, word for word.
Yeah, this fucking prick, this mother, this son of a bitch bastard. Uh, then he shows his sensei, and he's like, "We can't let this Chinese guy like." We can't let this Chinese guy like dog on us like this. We need to show him what for. So he recruits six other Japanese martial artists. Well, they didn't even like you didn't even need to recruit them. They're all ready to go.
Yeah, they all have, like, their weapon of choice, I guess, with or
Yeah,
weapon of expertise. The nunchuck guy, there's basically, it's all the Ninja Turtle weapons.
yeah. There's a
And
Sai guy, nunchuck guy, katana guy, judo guy. That's
the
that's
guy.
that's what they don't have names. They just have
Yeah,
guy
that's the guy.
style.
Then one of the guys was, he did this little, like, nose twitch thing with he has a mustache, he does, like, little nose like,
He's like a rabbit.
yeah, like a rabbit, or I mean, I was thinking like the in Bewitched, like the
Oh yeah.
when she cast the
The
spell.
nose thing, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then there's the other guy who also has a mustache, can't remember what his name is, but he looks exactly like, in The Cable Guy, when Jim Carrey's character beats up Owen Wilson in the bathroom and he puts on that disguise with, like, the mustache. That's exactly what I was like, why is, Chip Douglas.
It's funny. Also, to me, I think it's the judo guy. He kind of looks like the guy from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, specifically Shredder's henchman.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, they do. They decide they're gonna come to China to prove to this guy that the Japanese martial arts are better. I like the walk that they have. Like they all walk like side by side, like shoulder to shoulder, and they're walking to the ship. It's a really cool scene.
Yeah.
Um, just shows you like how all badass they are. I know like this movie's basically a comedy, but like, why did he listen to this friend? This plan was stupid. I feel like maybe if he just went to Japan and he's like, "Hey, can you please come back? I'm sorry." That would have been everything would have been fine.
Maybe they just wanna show off their skills and their weapons.
Yeah.
They needed an excuse for it, you know?
By the way, if you watch this, if you're like listening to this podcast and you're like, "Oh man, I like this romantic comedy aspect," that's over.
Yeah, yeah, it's done.
That part of the movie's done. They have like two more scenes together, and that's like really it. She basically just explains to him the customs, and it's really it.
Yeah, and there's just so much action in the last part of the movie that even when I'm looking it up on Wikipedia to try and, when I try and, reference specific scenes from this movie, here's what the Wikipedia page says in its last paragraph. So we got, like, okay, these are, like, the last 2 sentences. A series of duels follows as Hotan comes up with a way to counter each Japanese martial artist's specialist expertise. In a final showdown, Hotao faces Kano. And then it's Shao Kahn, Hotan's service, provides a lot of the comedic relief for the film throughout various schemes that often bring unintended consequences for Hotao. And that's it. That is the conclusion of the Wikipedia description for the plot of this movie.
It's
There
funny
is
looking at the Wikipedia description because like the first like two paragraphs are like really like descriptive, and then the last like couple are just like, yeah, this is the movie.
Yeah, I would say, like, okay, it's a couple paragraphs long for the plot description, but, like, 90% of the plot description on the Wikipedia page is, like, the first 45 minutes of the movie, and then the last 2 sentences are the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Which yeah, this would be kind of an interesting movie to talk about because we're basically gonna be like, yeah, that fight scene was cool.
Yeah, and then this fight scene happened, and that one.
But we'll try to make it interesting.
Yeah.
So they just straight up come to his house and they're just like, "Yeah, we're challenging you." And he's just like, "Oh, I just wanted my wife. What are you guys doing here?" And they're like, and he's just like, once again, Takeno is just like, "You took my woman, man. I don't care about this. We're fucking kicking your ass." He doesn't say that, but that's my interpretation of the movie.
Yeah.
Um, so they just straight up challenging him. The guy with the katana challenges Ho, and they have a really cool sword fight. I'm debating if I want to explain every single fight because it's like I can just be like Katana versus Jian.
I mean, that's how it's kinda gonna play out. Is like this person versus this person, that person ver I think the best description for this movie is just first of all, just to watch it.
Yeah.
Secondly, yeah, I mean, it's I feel like if we're just describing the plot, we kinda summed it up. Uh, but it's a lot of fun. This, like, last part of the movie,
Yeah.
just, showdown after showdown, and, it feels a lot like a video game, like, from the '80s, where it's like, here's the setup, you do level after level after level, and then there's, like, a single block of text that says, like, "You have completed the game," or, "You have rescued so and so. Congratulations." "You and your friends are dead." To quote
um,
the Friday the 13th, NES.
yeah. To compare it to another video game, this movie is literally Shadow of Colossus. 100% literally Shadow of Colossus. Uh, I'm not going to give any other explanation.
I was gonna say, I'm actually not very familiar with Shadow of Colossus, so
Oh,
no, that's
okay.
totally fine.
I took a gamble there.
Yeah.
Shadow of Colossus, there's a lot to Shadow of Colossus. I
Okay,
was kind of
yeah.
making a joke,
I mean,
but
I'm familiar with like, I know of the game, I haven't played
just the
it, but
very basic thing is just it's like 16, I think. It's 16 boss fights. That's the whole game.
okay,
The
gotcha,
game's about getting to the boss and then finding a way how to kill him.
gotcha.
Um, so this like what this movie is, this is just basically boss fights.
Yep.
um, the first couple fights though, I can go. I think I have pretty much something to say about each fight. So the first fight is sword fight, Japanese katana versus Chinese Chinese longsword. The thing about this fight that's pretty important is it basically sets off like it can kind of continues the whole like cultural differences theme of the movie.
Mhm.
Um, the katana guy is beaten in the fight, and he basically is just like, "Yeah, I yield. He was my sword." But Ho doesn't understand that's what's happening, so he keeps fighting him, and just pisses off the Japanese guys even more because they're like, "This guy, we literally yielded, and this guy wouldn't stop fighting. What the fuck? He's an asshole."
Yeah.
Which is then leads to one of two of other scenes that Ho has with his wife, where his wife basically says like, "Yeah, they just want respect, and you just have to kind of like be willing to understand their customs. That's all they want, really." Um, Ho's next fight too is he needs to fight Karate Guy, and Ho like talks to his like other like martial arts teachers and stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, you basically you need to learn a style that like they will not be able to predict," which of course is the drunken master is of course drunken boxing style.
Mhm.
Which leads to another funny scene of them finding a drunken master, and instead of having the drunken master teach Ho how to use the style, Ho just watches him get into other fights and just copies his movements. Which the drunken master is played by the director.
Okay, yeah. I think I did, research that when it came up because that was, I don't know why that was such a common theme in a lot of these, movies. I'm assuming there's some significance behind it, but that's one of my favorite tropes in these movies is the drunken master character.
Yeah.
It's
Ja
there's enough characters like that in a lot of these kung fu movies that, it's practically a subgenre, or it
yeah.
is a subgenre.
It was like, if I recall, it's just because there's a famous, like, actual martial artist, um, named Wong Fei Hong, and, like, he also, like, knew, like, a drunken style, which is
Mhm.
why, like, Jackie Chan plays Wong Fei Hong in Drunken Master. Um, Wong Fei Hong, that character is in a bunch of movies. He's like an Iron Monkey. I don't know if you ever heard of that. Jet Li's Once Upon a China film. This guy gets played by a lot of people.
Okay.
But I don't know if Drunken Master, the first Drunken Master, was the first one or just the really popular one. But like, I know because of that movie, they wanted to make more like drunken boxing type of movies.
Yeah.
Because that was 75. Let me double check.
Oh, that's a good question.
78. 78. Okay.
Okay.
So
Same
they're
year.
probably making these movies at the same time, to be
Yep.
honest. um Once again, if you as much as I love kung fu movies, I'm not an expert on them. So if you know, please point to us where the kind of the origin of
For
Drunken Master
sure.
movies came from. And that's a fun fight. Drunken boxing is just a fun style to watch.
Definitely.
I did want to point out Foe uses a three section staff
Okay.
against a guy who uses nunchuck and tonfa. And very weird here, this guy is seemingly channeling Bruce Lee, who is a Chinese man. But this is like the eve of Bruce exploitation movies, so
Right.
they found a way to get a Bruce Lee in this movie, and it's a
Was it
Japanese character.
what year did, Bruce Lee die?
73.
73, okay, so, yeah, we're a few years after that, and, people wanted Bruce Lee to be in movies even after he died, and, so we got, Bruce Lee spelled L-E or L-I or, you know, every variation of his last name spelling.
But yeah, and then the rest of the movies are just someone uses their main style, and Ho is able to counter it. So like spears, um, and then kind of like knives. I guess the sai would be considered a knife, but yeah,
Yeah,
he has a sai versus butterfly knives fight. That's when he fights the guy who has like the little nose twitch that he keeps doing.
that's right.
It is funny how that fight ends because he just puts his side. Ho uses his knives to put the guy's size back in his pockets, and it's just like, yeah, I won. And when he fights the judo guy, instead of just going out to learn um, a Chinese wrestling style, he just covers his body in oil. It reminds me of the transporter, the first one.
Or you know what I was gonna think of? Because I'm a big Simpsons fan. Every time, I don't know, I have many situations and, in life where I'm all like, "This is like that one episode of The Simpsons where," and fill in the blank there. With Willie where he, like, crawls through the vents and he's like, grease me up, woman." And he just covers himself in grease.
Yeah, do you know the scene in did you watch Transporter? Jason Statham.
It's been years. You're gonna have to refresh me on that one.
Okay, there's a
Yep.
part where he's fighting guys, and then he gets his shirt taken off, and so he's fighting too many people. So what he does is he pours oil all over the floor, and then he rolls in it so they can't grab him.
That's
And then
right.
he puts he like hooks bike pedals onto his shoes, and then he's able to conquer the oil, but everyone else can't. It's a very
Yeah,
silly fight scene.
yeah.
I feel like every transporter movie, it was just an excuse to get Jason Statham wet.
That's, like, Crank and all that with
Mm. Um, so then, we get to the final fights, which is actually it's kind of a couple of fights, but he finally fights Takeno, which they have multiple stages to their fights. Takeno just tries to straight up ambush him, so it's more of like a battle of wills and countering kind of Takeno's ninja's tactics. Oh, he's a
Mhm.
ninja, by the way. I forgot to say that earlier.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's part of the title or one of the titles.
He is the titular ninja in the Shaolin fights ninja. I forgot the alternate title. Shaolin challenges ninja.
Actually, speaking of alternate titles and all that, because I know that, like, every, kung fu movie, like, has a bajillion titles when released in America and other countries and all that. Uh, Finding this movie, you sent me the link, and then I was, like, looking up where it was gonna be found or where I can find it. I ultimately watched it on Amazon, but, um oh, what was it? Oh, one of the places it said you could watch it was, Tubi, and I'm like, "Alright, so Tubi's free," you know? So I looked up on Tubi, or I clicked the link, and then, it took me to a completely different movie, and I was like, "Is this the same movie but, like, a different title?" And, like, I looked up the plot description, like, "No, this is just a completely different movie." So, I don't know what was going on there. It sent me to a completely different movie.
Yeah, that's happened to me before. Where it's
Yeah, so
in a
I
different
I
thing.
did eventually, like, find it. I'm like, right year, right title, and so I was like, "Okay, I'll watch it on Amazon."
It doesn't help that a lot of a couple kung fu movies will just have the same title.
Yes.
Like I mentioned to you, the Fist of Legend movie. There, I found out recently that there's just another movie called Fist of Legend.
It's crazy. Or my favorite is when, uh, they just Italy does this a lot with,
Oh,
have making a movie and then specifically titling it, um, as a sequel to an American movie. So, like, I mean, the most famous example is, Zombie was the Italian name for, Italian title for Dawn of the Dead, and then they, made Zombie 2 after that, which when released in America was Zombie, that's, like, the most famous story, but, like, my favorite is, uh, there was a Italian movie called, Cruel Jaws, and it has an alternate title of Jaws 5.
yeah,
It's
I know about that one.
Yeah, I have it on my shelf, like, next to all the Jaws movies. It is, it's
There's a
okay. It's okay. It's not great, but it's actually probably better than Jaws: The Revenge, so
that's not hard to do as long as it's somewhat of a competent movie.
yeah.
A couple other examples is La Casa, which means the house. So
Uh-huh.
La Casa 1 and 2 is Evil Dead.
Oh, yes.
And then La Casa 3 is about just some Italian movie that's the haunted house.
Oh, speaking of which, I know we're getting off topic here, but I wanna bring this up since we're on the topic. Die Hard, I think it's in China, has a title of Reluctant Hero? Reluctant Hero, let me
Really?
look this up. Yes, but that's not what I'm getting at here. Let's see. Can I find it? Yes, okay. So, I think it's China, but anyway, if you look it up, it's the title it's the Die Hard poster. It looks Bruce Willis building all that. Instead of Die Hard, it's called Reluctant Hero. And the tagline is Reluctant hero must defeat his enemies. He has no shoes, which is actually like, part of the plot of Die Hard. But what's funny is Die Hard 2, in when they released it, it was Reluctant Hero 2. And and then the tagline was like his wife is in danger. This time he has shoes.
That's fun. That's
I was trying
funny.
to find the poster, but, I found the one for the first one, yeah, it was Reluctant Hero.
That's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, I love, alternate titles or just, when a movie is released in a different country, like, what are the, uh what's the title over there and, like, how is it advertised?
I wish someone would, like, someone in America would do that. Like, I'm trying to, like, Scott Derrickson made the Black Phone, and then Scott Derrickson made the Black Phone 2, and it's shot like an old Italian movie, and it just has
Yeah,
nothing to do with Black Phone.
that'd be funny. Yeah, I don't know if they just stopped at Reluctant Hero 2 or if it, like, went into the other Die Hard sequels, like Live Free or Reluctant Hero.
The
Uh,
Reluctant Hero's back. Now he's with a black guy who also has shoes.
yeah. A good day to be a reluctant hero.
So the last 20 minutes of the movie is dedicated to the fight between Ho and Takino. Both like going through like kind of like a gauntlet of weapons. Like the first one is just Ho trying to like fight against like his ambushing ninja tactics, and then they use like spears and they're throwing weapons. They run the gauntlet of like, spears, like shurikens, needles, surigamas. Then he uses the Chinese rope dart, and then Takino uses the naginata, and then Ho uses the Chinese Dao. Once again, I hope I'm saying right. Dao or Tao? I can't. I'm sorry. Please yell at me in the comments. I don't know. Um, but then we get to my favorite fight in the movie. Ho is using the Chinese crane fist, which, fun fact, the specific crane form that he's using is called Fujin White Crane, and it is the kung fu that karate was based off of.
Oh, interesting.
Because basically, people from Okinawa, they came to China, they looked at kung fu, and there's certain styles of karate that are very symbiotic to White Crane.
Hmm.
So I don't know how intentional that was. If like the idea was just like, oh hey, he's gonna use the Crane style that karate is also like derived from. So it's like he's kind of using their own style against him. But I love this. Takino uses not a real style, by the way. He uses the Japanese crab style, which consists of him making like very like short range, like crab strike claw striking.
Yeah,
And then he even does like the crab walk. Very silly, but like the choreography is great.
yeah.
Um, Eventually, the fight comes to an end because once again, ninja tactics pay off, and he is able to knock out and seemingly drown um, Ho. But Ho turns out he is a okay. He was just faking it the whole time,
That's it.
and either just because of like the sheer balls of being able to do that, or the fact that Takino is just like, I have nothing else. I can't fucking I can't put this guy down. You win. They decide he wins Takino's respect, and Ho gets another chance to take the katana guy's sword again and accept his yielding, or accept his yield. Um, and then he takes the sword. They Ho has the speech about kind of like accepting each other's cultures and how like they're not so different. It's kind of a nice speech. And as soon as he takes the sword, the movie just ends. There's no resolution of him and his wife. Um, Movie just it's over.
Like I said, it's the video game end screen. It's
Yeah,
congratulations, you won. That's it.
which it's definitely very common in these types of movies where it just ends as soon as the main villain's defeated.
Yep.
One of my favorites is an 8 diagram pole fighter. The main guy, he defeats the villain, and then because he's a monk, he decides that now that he has his revenge, he will now walk the earth. But his sister is like, wait, no, come back. And then like the head monk is just like, no, his world is now, the world is now his home. And then just credits, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess the movie's over. Kind of. Do you have you ever heard of the movie Blood Debt?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's it's another Italian movie. It's like an
Okay.
Italian. I think it's a. Let me check it out. Actually, I think it might actually be Indonesian.
Oh, okay.
No, it's Filipino.
A Filipino. Okay.
So it's a Filipino action movie. It stars Richard Harrison. Not
Not Richard Harris Dumbledore.
No, Richard Harrison. Um, which I think I watched the movie thinking Richard Harris is in it, and then it was like, why is Richard Harrison this B like this C-level movie? Oh no, it's the other guy. But Richard Harrison is probably famous for being in the Godfrey Ho Ninja movies, like Ninja
Okay.
Terminator and stuff, which was basically he just went to China to in his mind he filmed like 4 ninja movies mainly, and then Godfrey Ho used that footage for 30 plus movies.
Interesting.
So if you ever watch like Godfrey Ho ninja movies like Ninja Terminator, Ninja the Protector, Ninja Dragon, they all have ninja in the titles. Um, it is basically Godfrey Ho just has like this ninja movie stuff, and then he cuts it with an unfinished Asian movie
Interesting.
and pretends that the two movies are the same movies. And these two characters that never meet up on screen are talking to each other on the phone.
Oh, that's weird. That's
Yeah,
like
it
some
is.
of the shit that they pulled with, speaking of Bruce Lee, like, what right after Bruce Lee died, and there was, what was it? Game of Death 2, I think,
Yeah,
or well, even the
Game of Death
original
1.
Game of Death that,
Yeah,
they just took random footage of Bruce Lee and, like, try to incorporate
yeah,
and claim
it's
that he was
basically
starring
like
in it, and yeah.
it's basically like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
Richard Harrison is in a bunch of those as like the white ninja lead. Um, he wears a forest camouflage ninja suit. But anyways, I went on that tangent just to talk about endings that are very abrupt. If you watch the ending of Blood Debts, he blows up the main bad guy with a really tiny gun, and then it just like literally it just cuts to a yeah, this character age 45, he turned himself in and he was arrested. It's like I'll send it to you and you can watch it after the fact.
That's funny.
But yeah, I always get annoyed when like movies just have like those very like quick endings and it's just like, wait, what? What? Um,
One of my favorite, I guess speaking of quick endings or just randomly abrupt is, you've seen American Werewolf in London, right?
oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
yeah, yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what you're talking about.
That ending, it's like that movie's just it is a horror movie, but it is also a comedy, you know?
Yeah.
It's 100% a horror movie, but it's also a comedy at the same time. Um, the ending where the werewolf gets killed, spoiler alert for this movie that's 45 years old. Yeah, the werewolf gets killed, and then there's, like, maybe 3 seconds of the, main actress crying because her boyfriend just died, because he turns back into a human form after he dies as a werewolf, and then all of a sudden it just cuts to credits, and it is the song Blue Moon, which is, like, the most upbeat, you know, music. It just happens to have the word moon in it, and that's why they included it in the movie. And it's just completely shifts the tone. It's like, this is so out of place. I crack up every time I watch that ending.
Yeah.
Like, I'm supposed to be sad, but this song just does not go with the ending.
That's a better example because at least like there's no more plot left.
Exactly.
um but yeah, that was sorry, we said how the movie ended, then we went on a long tangent about other parts. But yeah, that is Heroes of the East.
Nice.
Um
Good stuff.
yeah, not a whole lot of story, and like it's basically like a domestic like romantic comedy. for a bit, and then it just turns into a all out martial arts movie. Um, I do like the message of like, hey, we don't need to do a culture clash. We can just, learn from each other.
Yeah.
Especially at a time when like Japanese were very much vilified in Hong Kong cinema. It's nice to have
Yeah.
a movie where they're just like these guys aren't bad guys. They're just, they're offended by how acts, and then they come and fight him, and they all learn to respect each other in the end.
Yeah. That's, uh that's Heroes of the East.
I know you said you liked it, but
I did, yes, yeah.
what
It was fun.
what are your final thoughts on this
My
one?
final thoughts. Overall, I can see this as being like, you know, I can imagine it, showing up on some, all night martial arts marathon at 2 in the morning. Uh, you wake up and you're like, "What kind of movie or what movie is this?" And, it's like, "Oh, Heroes of the East. What's that film about?" And just like, jumping in you don't really need to know too much. You don't really need to know too much, about the plot going in, because honestly, like, let's say you jump in 20 or 30 minutes into the movie, uh, you at some point you'll catch on real quick that like what's going on with the arranged marriage and all that, and then all of a sudden you're just like thrown into the action. And that's really all you need to know. That's it's a movie experience, I guess, is the my final thoughts on it. I was gonna mention, I can't remember what character it was. So I don't know how you watched this, but, did you watch an English dub of it, or was it, like,
No,
subtitles?
I watched the Cantonese,
Okay,
the
so you watched it, in its original dubbing and or original language, I guess, and then had American subtitles, English subtitles?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so, I watched it, it was a dubbed version, and for whatever reason, the friend or assistant of our leading lady, Coda, like her friend or assistant or one of the characters in the movie sounded exactly like Wilma Flintstone. Flintst- like the original, Fred. It was this terrible dub. She was all like, "You're really gonna fight him?" or something, something like that. And I was like, "This does not sound right." And that was worth the price of admission on its own. And yeah, again, I can't even remember exactly what character. It was like a friend or assistant of the main actress in the film. And yeah, I even made a note of the few notes that I did make of this movie. I made a note that this sounds like Wilma Flintstone.
It's funny. I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now, and like all the other masters, they don't even have names. They have
Yeah,
Japanese
no,
Aido expert,
honestly,
karate expert.
I think she had one line in the movie, and that was it.
So my final thoughts are I really like this movie. I think this is a really good martial arts movie. The fight scenes are all very fun. They're all very different too,
Yeah,
because they're literally based off competing styles. And then if you like ninja stuff, there's a lot of ninja stuff in this. Um, I do find the comedy in this funny too. So there's a lot of Hong Kong movies where you're like, okay, enough of the jokes. Let's move on, please. Um, but I think the humor in this one's actually pretty well done. It's hard for me to say I
yeah,
have any issues with this movie because this movie is exactly the movie it's trying to be, and for the movie it's trying to be, it's pretty good. Um, I would have gotten to the fight scenes a little bit more, but like I don't know, I kind of assumed that was boring, and that way you guys can go check out the fight scenes yourself.
yeah. Yeah, it's a movie you have to watch. It's hard to describe the fight scenes and do them justice. Again, there's a reason the Wikipedia page was like 2 sentences was half the movie.
If any of you listening for the future, if I do martial arts movies again, you wanted me to talk more specifically about the fight scenes, please let me know, and then I'll change it based off that.
For sure.
But yeah, I think this movie is really good. It's I'll repeat it again. This is a really good starter film for Shaw Brothers
Yeah.
movies. If you enjoy this one, and if you liked Gordon Liu in this movie, just look up some of the '70s martial arts movies Gordon Liu did, and start there. Dirty Ho, I'd recommend if you want to watch more. Um, I know the title's funny. It,
Again, it's a quote from Cat in the Hat.
um, that's just the character's name is Ho, and he's a thief, so that's why they call him Dirty Ho. The movie's also a comedy too, so you don't have to feel bad about laughing about that. But yeah, this was Heroes of the East, and you all should go out and watch some more Hong Kong action movies, specifically Jackie Chan, Jet Li, or Sammo Hung.
For sure.
So, Lauren, where can the audience find you?
Well, you can follow if you want to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is Loren W Schroeder, spelled Loren. That is the male way of spelling Lauren. FYI.
Like
W
the
then
Robin actor.
I'm sorry.
It's like the Robin actor.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I have a funny story with that, and I did tell you this when we were hanging out, but I'll share it with the audience here. So, yes, my name is Lauren, as we established. I was at LA Comic Con this past year. That was October of 2025, and no, September, late September of 2025. And I show up to the Batman the Animated Series had a booth. It was like crew members, writers that were have worked on the show, and I'm like, oh, cool, Batman the Animated Series, huge Batman fan. That's one of my favorite shows of all time. That is my Batman, and I show up to the table. I was with my cousin, and my cousin like calls my name and says, "Oh, Lauren, like look over here" or something like that. And then I look, or I hear a voice in the distance, and it's Robin from Batman the Animated Series. I hear this voice, and I know that voice, and he's like, "Lauren, that's my name." And sure enough, I like turn my head, and it's Lauren Lester, and I'm like, "Oh, no way!" And then he's like, "But how do you spell it?" I'm like, "Lauren, Loren." He's like, "That's right. That's how I spell my name." And it was cool. And then I said, of course, I have to get a picture with him for one, but also, get a autograph from him. I got the little like 8x10 he has at his booth. And when he addressed it, he's like, I don't really do this for everybody, but this is the right occasion. So he wrote from one Lauren to another, Lauren Lester. And it was a picture of Robin and all that. So I love it. It's like one of my I've met many celebrities at conventions, and so that's one of my favorites, especially with him being Robin in one of my favorite shows, favorite interpretation of Batman. So, and good story to go with it. We share a name, good name. uh, so yes, that is my story of me meeting Lauren Lester. Yeah. So, or yeah, you could follow me on Instagram if you want, or just watch me on Graveyard Games. Yes. That season 2, I believe, will be coming out pretty soon, but for the time being, you can watch Graveyard Games on YouTube for free.
And if you enjoyed the podcast, be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, anything that gets more people to watch this show. That's how you do outros, right?
That's
You
right.
beg people to promote your show. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys have a good February. Bye everybody. Bye Lauren.
See you later.